References are a lot like a spare tire. You never really need them until you do. And then you really need them. I think it's one of the things that gets overlooked, in the career discussion. The reality is about half the employers out there require some kind of reference check. And if they ask for them, you have to have them. And today we're going to talk about everything I would recommend doing so that you are in a good spot when it comes to your references. Let's go. My name is Ben White with Ben Talks Talent. I have 11 years experience in talent acquisition, hiring, team building, and I am passionate about using my experience to help you become the best candidate possible and land your next job. If you are new to the channel, do me a favor, take 3 seconds and go ahead and subscribe and then hit that notification bell so you never miss a video with me. And if you are not new, hey, welcome back. Today I want to talk about reference checks. One of the most puzzling and funny and unfortunate things that I've seen time and time again in my career is you ask for references. Somebody provides you references, you get on the phone with someone and that person goes, yeah, I would not hire Ben. Or Ben had trouble executing tasks. Or, Ben was hard to manage. Believe it or not, that happens. And it happens a decent amount. People will actually send you references and those references will say negative things about them. And as a hiring manager, as a recruiter, as anyone on the hiring team, what are you left to think besides, we asked this person to give us any 3 people in the world, and they couldn't even find 3 people to say good things about them. It actually happens more than you think. So today I want to talk about them. I want to talk about it because I don't want it to happen to you. So first and foremost, if you are just waiting for that time where you need references to cultivate your references, you are doing it wrong. References, maintaining them, cultivating them, that is something you want to make sure you're doing throughout the entirety of your career. It is not one of those things where you say, okay, well, it's time for me to interview. Better go find me some references. No, that is not how you handle it. References is a lot like networking. You need to be working towards it constantly because you never know when you're going to need them. Someone like me could reach out to you tomorrow and they could say, hey, Ben, I know you are not looking for a new job, but I have something fantastic I would like to tell you about. And that opportunity might be fantastic. And what you don't want to do is have the opportunity of your dreams be a reference check or 2 away. And you can't successfully do that. So let's talk about reference checks. Let's talk about how you need to always be cultivating them and my process for making sure you have good references. So the first thing that I would recommend doing is anytime someone leaves your organization who you've spent any time working with, you need to pull them aside and go and talk to them and go, hey, I'm sad to see you leave, but I'm happy for you because it sounds like a great opportunity you're going for. I really enjoyed working alongside you. And I want you to know, I know you don't need it now, but if you ever need a reference in the future, let me know. I'd be happy to do it. It's that simple. What happens most of the time is they'll go, wow, thank you, Ben. I really enjoyed working with you too. And same. If you ever need a reference, let me know. I'd be happy to do it too. And that is step 1. Do that every single time. If it's someone you've worked with, someone you had a good relationship with, let them know it's an option. Have the conversation. That is step 1. I'm going to talk about step 2. And step 2 is identifying your references, right? You need to know who those people are. And as a practice, I would say you need at least 4 references. Now, if you're an individual contributor, you need to have 2 managers and you need to have 2 coworkers. Now, I know some of you probably heard that and said, Ben, 2 managers, that is really tough. I agree. That can be tough. That is ideal. If you can't get 2, you're going to need to get 1 because the reality is, when I've been asked by clients to do reference checks, I'll go to my candidate and be like, look, I need 1 to 2 managers and 1 to 2 contemporaries. So you're going to need a manager who's willing to vouch for you. Now, let's say you are a people manager. I would say you probably need to be able to identify 6 people. You need to be able to identify 1 to 2 managers who were previously in charge of you. You need to be able to identify 1 to 2 coworkers, and you need to be able to identify 1 to 2 direct reports. That's right. People who reported to you, you were in charge of them. What did they think of you as a leader? So the third thing, let's talk about that. Let's talk about cultivating the relationship. What does that look like? When you've identified someone who is a reference for you or potential future reference for you, one of the things you want to do is check in on them. I would recommend them either a call or a quick note every 3 to 4 months, and just reach out and be like, hey, how are you doing? Few things are more awkward from a career perspective when you haven't heard from someone in a year and a half and they call you and they go, hey, how are you? Oh, good, good. Hey, anyway, will you be my reference? That's awkward. You don't want to be put in that position. You don't want to put someone in that position, and you don't want to have to rely on that person then being a great reference for you. So the people you've identified as those 4 to 6 people, whatever the number is, I want you to check in on them. Put them on your calendar, make it a reoccurring meeting quarterly or every 4 months, and just shoot them a note. And maybe every other one, make it a call. Now, you want to do this because it's good for references, but there's also so much more in terms of benefits. Besides it being the right thing to do and being a good human thing, having good references could also lead to future opportunity. Staying in touch with people, if there's an opening at their organization that's fantastic, you'll be top of mind because you've been checking in with them. So for a variety of reasons, identify your references and then cultivate your relationships. So you've been doing the right things, right? When people leave your organization, you let them know, you have the conversation. You've identified the people who are your references, and now you've been checking in on them every 3 or 4 months. You are nailing it, right? You are doing every single thing right. What's next? So that next thing is that actual conversation. That next thing is when you actually ask them to be your reference. And I've got kind of a 4-step plan that I want you to do when you actually get to the point where you're asking them to be your reference. The first thing is you need to call them. Don't email them, right? Call them and say, hey, would you be willing to be a reference for me? And when they go, yeah, sure, Ben, I'll do that. Go, then you want to thank them. Thank you. I really appreciate, you doing this. I know it's an extra call you have to make on my behalf, but I just want you to know I appreciate it. That seems like a simple and obvious step, but I can't tell you how many times people just shot off an email and said, hey, would you be my reference? Great, thanks, and expected that to work out. Call them, and then when they say yes, thank them. Step 2, tell them that the job means a lot to you. Let them know, hey, this is a really exciting opportunity. I am pumped for it. I think it'd be great for me and my family. So I'm just really excited, and I'm honored that you would be a reference for me. What does this do, right? Even if they thought some of your work was substandard, or maybe they don't feel 100% confident, if that's the case, this goes without saying, but you should be picking people who you feel good about you. But just letting them know how important it is, it kind of makes the gravity of the situation evident to them. They know what's important to you. They're going to be more inclined to say nice things. They're going to be more inclined to maybe overlook some of the things that maybe they would share, but they're like, oh man, this really means a lot to Ben. I'm just going to say he was awesome. The third thing you want to do when you're talking to this person is talk a little bit about the job. Be like, yeah, the job it's really exciting to me because they're looking for someone, to manage a team and grow them, which I'm super passionate about. They're looking for someone who really wants to, hammer home the details, which I've always felt is, one of my strengths. So it's just, for me, I feel like it's a perfect match. What you did there was you highlighted things that you know are important at the job, and then you highlighted to your reference that they are strengths of yours, so it'll be top of mind. It'll be fresh in their mind. When they're talking to the person who's doing the references and they go, hey, why do you think we should hire Ben for this job? Be like, well, Ben's an excellent manager and he's great on details. So yeah, you want to, it's kind of like priming the pump. You want to prime the pump of your references to say the things that are going to be most impactful for you. Now, you might think, hey, I've done a great job. I've done everything I need to for references, and you have for the most part, but I want you to do one more thing. After you're done, reiterate to them, hey, again, I really appreciate this. This could be a huge one for me. I also want to let you know, if you ever need a reference, I would be happy to do so. You're doing me a huge favor, and I'd be happy to return the favor. This is letting them know that, oh, I should say nice things about Ben, because if I need one of these people, Ben can be one of them for me. Most people aren't actively cultivating references like this. They don't put a lot of thought into it. And when you say this to them, not only is it a nice thing to say, but it's also, it pulls them to a realization that they might be in this seat. And if they want somebody who's going to say good things about them, they should probably say good things about you. And there you go. If you do those 4 things every single time with every single reference, you're going to be in a good spot. I know references are overlooked often, but they are important. It's something that makes sense to get right. So do these things, you'll get it right. You'll have great references. Good luck in your next job interview. You've got this.